right.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
This is the podcast number 93.
And we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan. Shingeki no Kyojin.
That's right.
And we now know what that means. I mean,
Right.
we knew last week, but
it's not Attack on Titan, it's just Attack Titan.
Ugh.
Yeah. The Titan of Attack.
And Isayama this whole time he attack and he attack,
protect, but most importantly,
he attack.
He attack.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Okay, we have a lot of follows here.
Crybaby.
Oh my gosh, let's shout out all these follows. So we've got Alan3266, Instrumator, Perry, Tight 7, Cirque TCG, Niemethor, The Comedian B, Mr. Skull, Alderanax, Mr. Skull. Oh, that's Mr. Skull twice for some weird reason. And Where You Bin Laden, and Anything Is Possible. Thank you all so much for the follows. Glad to have you here. What a crew. What a crew. But
people are already shouting out their factions.
The podcast. Wait, are people shouting out the factions?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Lyriot, are you are you trying to shill to even people that like won't even be in the Discord?
Attack on Titan was just a really wonky translation. Yep.
So was
Protect
it just
Titans.
was it just a wonky translation, or was Isayama trying to make sure that he didn't make it too obvious?
Well, I mean, Isayama probably didn't even fully realize. I mean, no, I believe that he could have thought of that as named the Attack Titan.
Yeah, because it's like 5 episodes in when Eren has his whole Titan. Well, no, Eren dies 5 episodes.
Right, and then it's 8 episodes in when it's revealed that it is actually Eren, because we totally didn't think that from the emo haircut.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Jad the Man, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I don't think the hype train is over for you just yet. Oh, I know. I was wondering if you guys could react to the No Regrets and Lost Girls OVAs. No Regrets gives Levi a ton of extra backstory, while Lost Girls strengthens Annie Nikasa's characterization. Both series also provide more world building, and if all that's not enough to convince you, they're both 101% canon. They're required viewing for any Attack on Titan fan in my book. I'd love to see what you think of them.
Well, thanks for the show.
Thank you for recommending that. It just depends on whether or not we just watch them on our own time.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Protect Titan. yes, exactly.
Does Jacob's t-shirt detail the historia behind Attack on Titan's deepest lore?
Well,
no, it's Ocean Man.
It's Ocean Man. It's the lyrics to Ocean Man.
We're finally to the ocean.
So Eren is now Ocean Man.
Or is Armin the Ocean Man?
Armin's the Ocean Man.
He's got to take Eren
trying to
by
take Eren by the hand to another land.
But
it's sad though.
To another land, indeed. Oh boy.
It's so sad because like you think about Eren and just the struggle he's had to go through all this, and all the mistakes they've made, all the victories they've had. And he can't even be happy about this next step of freedom. Like I love that everyone else is like just enjoying the moment.
Yep.
Like even Mikasa was in the moment.
I know, which is
like cold,
saying something.
Cold, heartless war machine Mikasa like was actually like enjoying herself in the moment, and it's like, oh
boy.
Yeah, we're just giving everyone time to get in here while we just chat about the recent episode and stuff.
Yeah.
If you look at the English logo of Attack on Titan, the on is really small, though. At first glance, you barely see it from a distance. Oh, that's a good point.
Extreme, yep.
And that actually fits perfectly, because generally with prepositions and, definite articles and stuff within, logos and stuff like that, you don't want them to be big, because unless it's like, the Promised Neverland, you want like the ones that are in between to not really get all that extra focus. Nathan Connelane, thank you so much for the follow.
Adversaries TV, are links allowed in the chat? There's a quick excerpt of an interview with Isayama where he talks about the ocean scene. It's a quick read. I thought it would be interesting to see his thoughts.
No, links are not allowed unless you're a mod, I believe.
Yeah.
Mods have linking powers.
Correcto.
Yeah. There's the Ocean Man lyrics. Yes, exactly. Oh, man. I just made a Twitch account when I saw you guys were going to be live streaming. It's really late here in Belgium, so I need to go soon. But today I found a video that you guys need to see when you have time. It's a deleted scene from season 2. I think it's an official cutout. I don't know if you know about this deleted scene. I'll ask around about it.
Yeah, I'll put the feelers out there, but want to be careful with what we let Caleb's virgin eyes see. Although he's now seen the basement, and he knows about Marley and paths and Eldians and all that stuff, and
the
potential time travel and
time limits,
and the time
too.
limit and stuff. So,
oh my gosh, so much stuff.
Are his eyes virgin eyes anymore?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Trashocon with Twitch Prime. On a scale of Aaron to Armin, how happy were you to see the ocean? I was very wholesomely happy, and it just kind of hurt once I saw how Aaron was just kind of standing there looking up, and I'm realizing, all right, cool. So this is from the first episode of season 3, and this is also, like Jacob ends up mentioning in the discussion, this is what the first OP of season 3 was about.
Yep. I would say I'm exactly Armin, because the thing is, Armin understands what Aaron's thinking and feeling too. So that bittersweetness, it's there for him too. It's just that he doesn't it's the reminder once he sees Aaron just standing there. Whereas everyone else is very much just kind of like having fun and being like, whoa, this is salt water. What's going on? You know, it hurts when it gets in your eyes and stuff. And
Levi's like, that stuff's nasty. I'm not going anywhere near it.
Hanji, don't touch that. It could be poisonous. Yeah.
It's adorable. Yep. All right. So we are going to be talking about season 3 as a whole, but we're going to be focusing primarily on the second half and how this show has changed forever by the 3rd season.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, y'all, we're going to kind of do a brief rundown here of the whole thing, but then go, and Jacob you'll give like a manga kind of perspective a little bit on some of this as well, because a lot of why I think Attack on Titan is now kind of in its stride again, or hit its stride again, was because they took a breather bit in season 2. I think because they took their time, and then they did only one cour in season 2.
Yep.
They were then able to basically take the apparently the tougher parts of the manga and then condense it like dramatically to where we have basically this kind of political intrigue, mysteries being revealed kind of section of it that kind of, now that I think about it, segues really well into the whole retaking Shiganshina part of the story. And then, you know, the whole backstory bit with getting into what the whole truth of this world is with regards to Marley and Grisha and Eldians and Titans and
all that
Ymir, Fritz, and all that. So yeah, I kind of want to hear from you, like, first, Jacob, but I gotta say, first off, like, if we consider the whole thing to be season 3, now I know a lot of people weren't as big of a fan of certain ways that they did things in season 3's first half. At least I could notice there were parts that they were struggling to figure out how to kind of put it into the story.
Just the general, like,
flow of it.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, Kenny's existence, like as great as what they ended up doing with Kenny, the fact that he's just sort of introduced there, and then, you know, he's an antagonist for a while and then he's done, that could have been, you know, potentially done better. Like if he had been introduced as a concept or an idea earlier on, that would have been really cool. But they still handled it really well.
And that whole kind of beginning part specifically, I understand them wanting to solidify the conflict in the walls so that we can head out and put everything there behind us so that we can really focus on taking down Reiner, Bertolt, who we now know to be Zeke. And
and the whole thing
getting
of
Shiganshina back and getting into the basement.
Well, in the waiting of the 4 years, like, so many people were like, this is crazy, this is
4 years was in between season 1 and 2.
Right. But waiting that 4 years, you know, it seems like the most ridiculous thing ever. And then it's like, no. They're waiting 4 years,
right?
So that way they can finish Attack on Titan.
Yes, and that blows my mind. Can we talk about that for a brief second here? Briefly.
That is absolutely insane.
We are actually going to finish Attack on Titan, y'all. Season 4 is coming fall 2020. That's the last anime season of 2020, which means it's probably actually going to have the show end in 2021.
Right.
Because it's probably going to be a 2-cour season.
And they might have a break in between the cours like they did for season 4.
And I hope they actually have a break.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I want them to go all out. I want them to have, like, Levi with ODM gear moments in, like, you know, both things.
Yep.
You know, that level of animation, basically. So that we can get the premium Attack on Titan experience that we got when it was that good in this first and second part of season 3. Because I think that one of the things that's not really being mentioned, that's kind of our brief mention of Attack on Titan season 4 being the last season.
But, before we get too far into it, we should
we do our VIP shout out. Yes, thank you, Jacob. Akuma/Yumi Uzumaki, thank you so much for the VIP support.
Yes.
Recent addition to the Patreon and Discord. Looks like an anime character's name for some reason. Uzumaki sounds familiar.
Uzumaki, I believe, is Naruto's last name. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for the support. Glad to have you here. Yep. And looking forward to meeting you on some of the Discord calls and stuff like that. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm still waiting on confirmation from Wit before I get excited.
Is it not confirmed though? I'm pretty sure all the major outlets posted as if they had been holding on to that announcement for a while.
Right. Well, because there was potentially Wit is doing it. Yes, they confirmed it.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Wit's Twitter didn't say anything.
Okay,
it's tough because the whole thing of them potentially handing it off to another studio, I get it. They've been working insanely hard on Attack on Titan, right?
Yeah.
And yet the reveal of like, hey, final season, it's like, you're almost there. Just one more season. Right. You can do it. Ganbate. Tatakai.
I could totally see Production IG, which is the parent company of Studio Wit, taking it on themselves. Production IG is the same people that did Haikyuu and like a whole bunch of other stuff.
They're big.
They're big. They'd
be able to do it.
They have the resources necessary in order to do it. If anything, what might end up happening is that Studio Wit is starting Vinland Saga this season. So they might just want to leave themselves open to where they don't have like Attack on Titan just blocking out a whole anime season.
Right.
Like, because it's not really just one anime season. Because it takes time to animate all that stuff.
Right, because even if you just have... Oh, the shirt is definitely intentional. Because, even if it's just the one cour, which it's not. I mean, it's almost definitely going to be 2 cours. And, like let's be real. Then you'd still need probably at least 1 season before that just to start the process of working on it and getting it done. If not a full year... So the fact that they're doing Vinland Saga, it's like, okay, they'll probably, even if they do it, they'll probably bring in a lot more additional staff from other places and outsource some of the work things like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Jad the Mad, season 4, 3 cours or bust. The way the manga is going, unless it wraps up really quickly, I don't see it fitting into 26 episodes. Who knows? Maybe they'll pull a Full Metal Alchemist and end the manga and anime within a month of each other. They could.
The crazy thing is that if every, like, pretty much every episode is 2 chapters of manga, from what we've been getting.
Gotcha.
And the thing is that we're not even to chapter 100 in the manga. So if they did 2 cours and it was a full 2 cours, that's 48 chapters of manga. That's a lot. Like, that is a lot.
And then, if they go more than that,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. If they did even more than 2 cours, then that'd be insane.
Oh my gosh. Who the hell and One Step 96. Thank you so much for the follows.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so season 3. Season 3 kicks off with a bang. We are thrust right into the midst of this whole situation of the scouts being basically labeled as enemies of the state and of the king. there's all this underhanded kind of movements and sneaking around and stuff. Erwin's on house arrest. Kenny's introduced. Levi's backstory is being like teased towards us here.
Right.
But they kind of went a little bit and recontextualized some characters. We knew that Historia was important, or yeah, well, we knew that Historia was important.
We just didn't know how she was important. We didn't know what it exactly meant.
Right, but it was to the point to where we recontextualized like Grisha. We recontextualized like everything regarding the king, regarding Levi, even.
Because the thing is that at the end of season 2, even though it had been opening things up quite a bit, especially with that whole Ymir backstory, which, you know, was supposed to happen like in the last like few episodes of season 3, like the second part.
Wow.
It was still a very small world, if you think about it.
Yeah.
We had the Beast Titan introduced. Okay, crazy. But it was still very much all right, Reiner and Bertolt, they're the main enemies and focus and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then there's this knowledge that eventually we'll have to deal with stuff inside the walls, right? Because there's going to be some trouble there, you know. And there's the whole idea of Reiner and Bertolt's hometown, whatever that means. Yeah. But nothing beyond that, right? And then all of a sudden season 3 comes along and it's like, okay, yes, we did know that it would have to do some kind of, you know, rebellion type thing, struggle with the you know, the throne, right? And it did that, but it did way more than that. Yeah, you know, we had everything. We had everything with Rod and the Turkey Titan and everything, and all of the stuff that implies. And then we get into the second half of season 3, which is just
right. But that that first half of season 3, I think, does a lot to basically let us know, okay, this is the answers season. Because you guys remember in season 2, at the very least, do you remember when I was watching I believe it was the 10th episode where it was the Ymir stuff. I was just freaking out about like them basically telling us about people out there, their own city, and you know, their own like actual control of the Titans and stuff like that. And
it was a great decision to have that in there.
It's a huge way to build it up. But it's interesting because I want to hear your opinion as a manga reader, Jacob. You're talking about all these things that were thrown basically forward. Were there any things in season 3's first half that were also thrown forward to kind of prepare us a little bit more for the doozy of information coming with the whole Zeppelins and
right
you know,
I mean,
that
yes,
crazy reveal.
Definitely, but it was, I feel like it was more of the little things and like the conversations and things like that.
Gotcha.
Like you mentioned that a lot of the exposition felt a little bit like sort of out of nowhere, of like, wait a minute, how are they able to piece together things like this?
Yeah, the one that was weird was Erwin basically determined
that the memories of mankind
were removed, and I'm like, wait a minute.
And it kind of makes sense because it's a whole thing of, okay, we've seen Titan powers and whatnot, so you know, who knows what's possible. Yes. And there should be history from beyond 100 years ago, even if you like no one would, even if you burn all the books and stuff like that, you wouldn't be able to get rid of it completely. But yeah, it's one of those ones.
But he was like specific as to like who and how and all that.
Well, not how.
Well, no, he said like Titan power of some kind, right? Like he basically said that like the king removed our memories or something like that. Sure. I was all like, wait, why couldn't have been like there been like, I would have, like, if I was him and I was going through that realization, I would have gone to there was an event that made humanity, you know, lose memory, or at least a huge chunk of humanity lose memory beyond back, you know, past a certain point.
I guess it makes a lot more sense for something like that, for it to be something that is intentionally maintained rather than, you know, given everything with the military police and whatnot. But yeah.
And even he didn't even consider, like, you know, water or something like that. They made them all drink something or what have you. Like there was some kind of scientific thing for it, you know.
Oh yeah, but they didn't have anywhere near technology that would be able to do something like that.
Right, but that's not over Titan powers. It's it's the same kind of leap in logic. It's a thing that we don't understand that doesn't. Sure. Eren decided to deserve to survive. Screw Armin. Oh, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Oh boy. So season 3's first part ended with them basically prepping to go. But what I really love that they did early on, at the very end actually of part 1 of season 3, was they had a scene with Armin, Levi, and Mikasa out on the stairs, and they're talking about their dream. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about basically the outside world, and Armin needs to kind of remind Eren about why they're doing all of this. And he has this moment of like, yeah, but the sea, the outside world. And Eren's got this like, yeah, man, you're great. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. But in the background you have Levi, and Levi is listening to all of this. Mm-hmm. And it was at that moment basically that I think he was, that's right. That's where it's obviously he's not making the decision at that point.
But that's where it was incepted.
Incepted.
Right.
Yes.
And so great point. That was the conversation with Erwin and Pictius in the manga went into a lot more detail, and thanks for reminding me. Erwin's logic behind the memory erasing was that since they had just found out that Titans were humans, if Eren was able to control Titans with his power, who's to say that humans couldn't also be controlled by Titan powers?
Yep.
And
that just wasn't said in the anime.
Yeah.
And that's still.
But it makes a lot more sense then. It's those kinds of things that they cut out because it's like, okay, we can't have 3-minute discussions about this, therefore.
Right, but that sentence would take about 15 seconds to say. Like, I think it's something that they could have put in.
Sure.
It wouldn't have taken much time. It wouldn't even taken much animation work either. Lip flaps. But so I think that season 3's part 1 actually flows really well thematically into part 2. So I don't even consider them really separate seasons. And I think in terms of like separate really parts, because what they have at the end, especially with what we got in the finale here, kind of reaffirms the whole thematic aspect of freedom and why we're doing this. Because Eren can't really be celebrating at the end of this season.
No.
Like, he's just not excited about it.
It's just begun.
Yeah, we're going to war, basically.
Yep.
And that's not a wonderful thing to be excited about.
Not really.
So, in the second part, I think it has one of the added benefits of just being the capitulation of so many years of build-up for Attack on Titan, but it had some of the most cathartic, enjoyable scenes in the entire show, independent of the payoff that it was for all the build-up, with Levi destroying the Beast Titan.
Even though it's that thing of like, and it gets away, it's like, well...
Yeah, who cares? Erwin just giving the most heroic of death charges.
Yep.
Like...
Yep.
I had to watch it both in the sub and the dub because I wanted to know how
J. Michael Tatum did it.
How J. Michael Tatum
it's
would
amazing,
do it.
Isn't
and
it?
It's so good.
It's so good.
And
Levi too.
Matt Mercer does a great job as Levi as well. But
like that part in particular where Erwin charges is just
right. I just don't get excited for Levi's speeches or lines really.
Oh, also anyone hear Pippin singing when the horses charged? It was very much
with the
Knights of Gondor kind of a thing.
The home is behind, the world ahead.
Yep. Yep.
There are many paths to tread. Oh my God, there are many paths to tread. Paths, y'all. Even Pippin.
Reiner getting thunder probed. Yeah. Reiner got.
Reiner,
wrecked.
Bertolt. Zeke.
Bertolt just got squishied.
Well, Bertolt, I almost want to give like a specific section of this podcast just for him, because somehow Isayama does this thing where he'll have a character who has that extra perspective. You know, he's got he's got knowledge on the situation that our characters don't know, and he'll say things. It's kind of like how Reiner, you know, was the crazy one, the one that was broken inside. But Reiner would say things, and you'd go, "Wait, that means something," and we would go as the audience, "I don't get it. What do you mean when he's talking in code to Ymir, or he's you know trying to convince Eren and stuff?" So when Bertolt has his moments of, well, you guys need to die. You guys need to die. Like, this is not a thing of hold on. This is not a thing of where this is your wrongdoing. Like you
didn't do anything wrong, here.
But you guys actually need to just lay over and die. Like, could you all do that for me? Like that'd
really make my life a lot easier.
And make my life a lot easier.
Yeah.
You perfectly encapsulate what we now know is the honorary Marleyan, that he was brainwashed from a young age to be a warrior.
Right.
And completely in conflict with the fact that he hates that he has to kill these people, but also that he has to do his mission, otherwise he's going to die.
Well, and the thing is that he chose for himself. It was something where it's like, all right, this is what I choose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
It is. Aether Exali and Feline ASP, thank you so much for the follow. And Erwin is my present with the 500 bits.
Attack on Titan podcast.
Attack on Titan podcast. Yes. Yes, for real.
So what did Bertelli?
Oh my gosh.
That joke. Yeah.
Is that a joke? Like
oh yeah. Remember from the I'll just Bertell you what I Bertold him.
Oh,
just gotta go out there and do it.
I don't like that abridged that much, so I kind of forgot half of the.
That's the Team 4-star one though.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's because it's off YouTube.
Yeah, he's got a good point. He's got your power. This guy's great.
I think it's just because it's off YouTube. I haven't seen it in a while. I thought it was from the other one. The Comedian B. I need to go now. If you want to find that deleted scene, just search on YouTube Reiner and Bertolt's conversation before Eren wakes up, and you will find it. I'm sure you will love it. It's not in the manga. That's why they cut it out.
Gotcha.
It's a nice scene between Reiner and Bertolt. The first time that Bertolt laughs.
Oh
wow. Okay.
Oh boy.
Well, thanks for the heads up. It's Sir Zero. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Glad to have you here.
Yep.
Another important little detail that they cut from the anime was that Marley was specifically recruiting children from the ages of 5 to 7 to become warriors. Well, I think that's something that we almost can infer that they were really young based on the end credits scene thing where it showed the young kids. Like, if that's anyone, that's probably Eldians being trained up to be honorary Marleyans.
And if that, like, because they seemed rather fervent at that point, so that's probably when a good amount of brainwashing has already happened.
Yeah, at least a year.
Yeah, and I think Reiner and Bertolt were like 16 and 17. Or Reiner was like 17 and Bertolt was like 16 when they
no, this was like 6 years ago.
No, but in the when they're all like done with training, in the military, so that would have put them at about 11 and 12.
Yes, 11 and 12 when they
broke the wall.
When they were breaking the wall.
Which means like that meant that they were fully trained and then inherited the Titans.
Yep.
They're 11
and
12.
Were trained with how to use the Titans. Like that's something that took Eren like a long time to get.
Oh boy.
And they were better than Eren. Like they're still them back then is probably still better than Eren is now. I mean, that's not necessarily the case. Well, no, it is actually because they didn't get any practice time with their Titans for 5 years. Yeah. It wasn't until the Bertolt basically popped back out and was like, all right, it's my time to kick the next wall in.
Sure.
And then, or kick the next gate in. Reiner never got a chance, though.
Yeah, that's true. Although,
yeah. But, so much, though. Speaking of paths, something that the anime moved forward into part 2 was the revelation that the aurora Ymir saw was in fact a visual representation of paths. To put it in perspective, we manga readers only learned that 2 chapters ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And the 9, for the 9 titans and everything, and yep.
Oh.
There's also this crazy theory that okay, with all the time travel and stuff, and the whole idea of the 9 titans and the coordinate and whatnot, and
right.
Eren wakes up at the beginning of the series next to a tree, and Mikasa's like, Eren, why were we having this dream? Or why are you crying? And he had a crazy dream, and in the manga they cut this out from the anime, but in the manga he sees Mikasa with short hair.
Oh.
And she doesn't have short hair at that point yet. That's not for another 5 years or whatever.
Wow.
Right? So if the tree is a representation almost of like the coordinate, there's 9 paths all going to the same place. The tree Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, 9 branches, and I believe it was made by Ymir or something along those lines. But yeah,
well, Ymir is a Norse, Norse mythological.
So it's
god of some. It's
kind of crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that symbolically were planned out.
Titan in Norse mythology.
Yeah. It's Ymir is the Titan in Norse mythology. That's right. Yeah. But there's a lot of crazy things though that when we look at season 3's what they gave us, there's a lot of little details that I have to give credit to the way the world was formed, so that even though not all of it was planned out, because let's just be real here, y'all. Attack on Titan was not 100% planned out. A lot of things were figured out just ahead of time, But there are a lot of things that were put into place in a way that could give retroactive context to the overall situation. And I think the transition that they did from we figure out the problem in the walls, we're going to figure out the basement, to there's another country out there and we have to go fight them was handled so well. Because can you imagine if they slightly flubbed the execution on that? That would be the biggest, dumbest, out of nowhere, we're dragging out the story.
Well, right. And and that was kind of what it felt like to me at first when it got to that reveal, because I was a little bit suspicious, because I was like, okay, it felt like this, because the story was definitely changing. But then it's like, well, wait, no, of course, how could it be anything different eventually, right? But since I hadn't really thought about the scale of how it could be Titans outside, or not Titans outside the walls, but humans outside the walls, and just what that would be like if they didn't have to worry about the Titans, right, like them being on an island, then why would they be at the same technological level and all that? Why would they need to be in little cities and the like? Yeah, it's crazy.
The owl mentions the source of all organic matter, but it seems no one discusses this theory. Well, I think it's more of just a thing of if you hear that in writers speak, that basically sounds like plot Genesis MacGuffin. It doesn't really mean anything to the characters, and the characters are the story. So that's why I freak out way more when the owl says, you got to keep this from repeating the cycle over and over again if you want to save Armin and Mikasa. Yeah. That's something that gets my juices flowing, and I'm like, holy crap.
Okay, because here's the thing. The world being revealed and all that stuff, it's like, okay, big deal. That seriously,
it's a really
big deal. Attack on Titan has changed.
Yep.
That though is where it's like, all right.
Yeah,
completely different show now.
Hold up.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh my god. So wait, Eric Walt, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Caleb, I would like you to answer this question asked by Aaron at the end of the episode. If we kill all our enemies on the other side of the sea, will we finally be free? Hey, it rhymes. Well, I actually answered that question in the discussion of the episode, which will be coming up right after this podcast.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the main thing I'd love to kind of add on to what I said in the discussion there, and Jacob and I had a cool kind of back and forth on this, is that the actual enemies beyond the sea, like that whole question has so many problems with it. Because one, there's basically the despair that Eren is going through where he knows he's not free yet. But the idea that if you kill people in general, like, does that make you free? Like, wouldn't you be trading one lack of freedom for a different type of, imprisonment?
Yeah.
Would Eren even survive, a war in this manner? Like,
right, because he only has 8 years left, and there's a very good likelihood that a war of that scale, assuming that Paradise just doesn't get crushed immediately, could go longer than 8 years.
Yeah, in some ways, it's...
What do you do?
In some ways, the real question, I would say, is, will Eren ever feel in his heart that he is free? And I don't think that's ever going to happen unless he basically has some way to tap into, maybe through some Historia shenanigans or what have you, the Founding Titan's power.
Or if he dies.
Well, if he dies, he'll definitely be free.
But that's the thing where I feel like...
So maybe he won't.
I feel like the aspect of the parallels between the three older characters in Levi, Erwin, and Hanji could be paralleled in that maybe Armin isn't Erwin. Maybe Armin is Hanji.
Sure.
And Eren's Erwin. And Eren is going to die, and that's how he'll finally be free, because nothing else would suffice.
Yep, and that's something that they basically told us happens if we go into the whole time travel theory, because...
Well, we know that it doesn't work, or it hasn't yet.
On some level, it hasn't worked yet.
Right.
If we assume that this is the first iteration, which I think is a big assumption, because once you introduce any kind of sending messages through the past or the future or what have you, you can't assume this is the only iteration of Attack on Titan we've gone through here.
Oh, yeah. And Adversaries TV, something I wanted to bring up to you. The line that Kruger gave Grisha about Mikasa and Armin was similar to what Grisha told Eren when he was about to inject him in episode 9 of season 1. Yep.
If you want to save Armin and Mikasa, you'll need to take full... What does he say? You'll need to learn to control this power.
Right. Their memories will guide you.
Memories will guide you,
and the idea that very message wasn't even for Grisha. It was just for Eren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in some ways, Grisha found out that over the course of time while being in Shiganshina, because these friends of his would just show up. And can you imagine Grisha being like, Eren's like, I'm going out to play with my friends. Who's your friend? It's this boy Armin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then basically basically, he's out there and stuff, and Grisha's doing this thing, and he hears like, oh, there are Ackermans left. Oh, I'm gonna have to go find out about that. And then he goes in, finds them and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, hi, I'm so and so Ackerman, and this is my daughter, Mikasa.
Right. Yeah. When he's when he goes there and Eren's killed them, and he's like, what's going on and all that, and then oh, your name's Mikasa. Well, and also
Mikasa, you should come live with us.
Yeah. And when Eren wakes up from the dream in the first episode, he's not a Titan shifter yet. But he's been getting memories. So who's to say that even like the book that Armin's parents found, that wasn't something that Eren specifically caused them all to find? Because everyone inside the walls is children of Ymir. They're the Eldians,
subjects
right?
Of Ymir,
But so.
Yeah. The whole rabbit hole with basically paths and Eren, Grisha, and Eren again is it's a yeah. Like, it's just it's a mess, y'all. There's so many crazy things that are going to happen and could happen.
Flock is us if we were in Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's actually a good thing to bring up. I feel like we're getting off track with this podcast here, but talking about season 3 as just a whole is kind of hard to do structurally unless we're going to kind of just skip over some of the not so interesting parts that, you know, don't get like the huge meat of the discussion in it. But yeah, Flock is basically us being a lucky survivor in Attack on Titan.
Yep.
Yeah, if we were actually just cursed with luck to live through this whole hellhole, then yeah, that he's basically us. Except he has stones when he's confronting people.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that because he is definitely a coward, but at the same time, with all the stuff he's seen, he's angry in a different way than Eren is. Like I feel like it's something where he's just like, you know, how dare you people do all these things that you've done, and and it helps me feel better when I shout at you about it,
right? Because it doesn't put any of the responsibility or problem in his hands, which is what generally cowards do. But you know, it's also a very common human thing as well,
right?
It's not like he's some super coward or anything like that. He's actually quite realistic for the Attack on Titan world for a sane person. In some ways, that's probably more of what it is. Just the other characters are so desensitized and traumatized by the whole stuff that they just kind of deal with it, and they don't even really deal with it. Maybe they just suppress it. That's something I've been waiting for them to get into.
Emotional suppression.
This is fine. This is healthy.
This is what happiness sounds like.
This is what joy sounds like. This is what
joy sounds like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta love Something Witty Entertainment. Those guys are great. Okay, so let's talk just in general about the whole reveal. The basement. Just that whole thing.
Yep.
Can you guys think of a story, any story, that had this level of a mystery buildup that actually delivered on the mystery?
Well, yeah, that too. But
like that's the thing. I can count many stories that have had this level of mystery, but in terms of actually revealing it and it being satisfying.
Yeah, Lost is the only one that I can think of that had the same build up and it wasn't able to deliver on it. But I can't even think of other stories that have this much build up to a mystery element.
Yeah, Game of Thrones had this build up too.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Didn't do it. Maybe Madara in Naruto, he was built up for so long. I don't know that whole context. I think Madara's the one that was like an unstoppable killing force, because I remember hearing about the guy that takes on like an army,
the whole army.
Okay. Shinsekai Yori. Oh, well, we'll have to see that because I've had that on a couple polls so far. Ichigo 100%.
Oh boy.
Darling and the Franxx and it being aliens.
What's crazy is how they keep the momentum going even after the reveal. Yeah.
Well,
like, and even though it got into like more calmer stuff because there wasn't a pressing, like, impending life or death threat. Holy shit.
Well, I think I'm going to put out there a question to the chat and to you, Jacob. I don't think the reveal was a one episode thing. Right. Even in the slightest. The reveal was everything we got. And they had a very, like, just not, this isn't a slight against Attack on Titan, a very convenient plot reason as to why Eren could very much experience it and it not being told to us. So we essentially got to live a backstory sequence of episodes. And that's something
fantastic.
That's very tricky to handle. And I don't think in terms of momentum, it's going to carry beyond this point. Because I think the story is now dramatically going to be a different type of plot.
Now it's, absolutely. Yeah, but the way of having, because one of the big problems whenever you're wanting something really complicated to be revealed is that you can get into monologuing and just exposition and stuff, and that is a lot less fun, right?
Totally.
If we just had Grisha talking about his sister, you know, and she was eaten by dogs, and then there was this other guy, and I joined a revolutionary movement, and like if it was just a diary, you know, as opposed to like Eren getting like the memory flashes.
It was a diary, but
right.
Eren got the memory flash.
Right, exactly. But you know,
which now that I think about it, doesn't make sense.
Oh, because it was just because it wasn't something that was
I just put it up to paths, you know, basically. It's just like it's the memories shared along the iteration and stuff like that, but
right.
There's a lot of conveniences with Attack on Titan that aren't negatives. They're just things that basically tell us they have to move the story along.
Maybe it was like dead skin cells from someone that had royal blood or something that touched the pages, or
that doesn't.
No,
that hurts even more to think about. It's basically like Dinah Fritz's like last remaining like.
But even
like,
then, she wasn't there.
She wrote it for him,
but she was dead and turned into a Titan long before that happened.
Yep.
But you know,
so it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Unless maybe it was something where the founding Titan had it. Okay, here's because once you deal with time travel, you can do pretty much anything. If it was something that the founding Titan sent back a memory that was then specifically supposed to be triggered and awoken once Eren touched the diary.
Yeah, that's the kind of convenience that I don't really care to go into, because it's just like, okay, it works. Yeah.
Can't you just use Historia's fingernails as ammo for the coordinate power then?
Yeah, this isn't that kind of show. That would
just you know, have her cut her hair every once in a while. Yeah. Oh boy.
How about Eren's season 1 mindset compared to his mindset in that last episode, huh? So that's the thing that I kind of want to bring up here, is that this reveal and why it's important and why it's not just a big info dump about the next coming arc's conflict, really, is that it actually changes the fundamental, original, basically context surrounding the conflict and all the characters' journeys up until this point. So, what I think is important with regards to this whole thing here, and I didn't get to ask my question with the thing there. I phrased it as a statement. My bad. Is basically that shoot. What was I talking about before this? I need to go backwards.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Help me out, chat. I was talking about the help me out.
Well, it'll come to you. Just like Eren's memories, it'll come to you at some point. Maybe you know, if you have something that triggers you or something. I don't know. But can we seriously talk about how change of Eren's mindset?
No, that's not it.
Well, but that is a good point. Eren's mindset changed a ton from the beginning of Attack on Titan to where we are now, because he was so cliche in the beginning. Like, he had the passion to back it up, you know, and there was the whole dreams of, you know, seeing the sea and all that stuff. So I believed it. I was rooting for him, you know, the whole way.
Yeah.
But I mean, by the end of season 1, he was just a rage monster, and rage monsters are not interesting. Like, let's be real. But then over the course of the story, we see that fire burn out. We see it burn as hot as it can, and eventually it tears him apart from the inside, and he ends up giving up and needing to be reminded of what he's fighting for, and then he gets to the ocean finally, and it's okay, now
it's not coming back.
Well, right, exactly. That, you know, if anything, the fire of, all right, I guess, you know, it's like this burning little ember of, this is what I have to do, so I guess I still have to keep going and just kill everyone on the other side now.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't see Eren as being that he's got a goal here. He's basically asking the question because he doesn't know.
Touch Jacob to get memories.
Haha, good one.
Did that do anything?
No.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of Eren's personality was influenced by the memories of rage and despair from the previous coordinates. I really hope not.
Sure.
I really hope not. One of the things that would be extremely negative, in my opinion, for his character is for us to find out that all of the reason why he is just because of the past lives influencing him to the point where he didn't have a character.
Well, and here's the thing, because the reason why I feel like that would end up pissing you off so much, because it would piss me off too, is because it's basically saying you're not a person anymore.
Yep.
When in reality, he still is, because even if the memories were there and they influenced who he was, he still made decisions about who he was, right? So from that sense, there's no difference. Even if it's just something that it made it more likely for him to be this way, he still ended up that way.
I think you were talking about how the context of the conflict changed. Oh, that might have been it. Yeah, basically that. Do you guys think that, and I think it was with regards to Aaron's question as well. If we kill all our enemies on the other side of the sea, will we finally be free? I think that was maybe a little bit before that, but do you guys think that Aaron and our heroes, the protagonists and stuff like that, have any kind of foresight to be able to see kind of an ideal, a goal to go towards? Like, do you think they have that?
I mean,
because I think that I'm not gonna talk. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I think the entire context of the conflict has changed dramatically, and the actions taken by both our heroes and the Marleyans in the next, like, what will be the first 2 episodes probably of season 4, matters greatly for the overall conflict. And I'm basically wanting to know how you guys think, because I have some thoughts, but I want to know how you guys think the context of the conflict has changed with regards to Aaron and company, our protagonist, versus the Marleyans and the Warriors. Yeah. Wait, what?
They already gave that in the answer to that in the last episode. Gather information from Marley and about the world.
Yeah. Okay, so the goal is just to gather information about Marley, because I'm pretty sure that doesn't involve any kind of conflict. That sounds pretty optimistic. That's a let's learn about them.
Well, right. It's the there will be conflict, and we want to be equipped with knowledge before that conflict starts.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe the mid-episode info card sheet shed some light on that. Yes, it does. It talked about them being conflicted on their own. Their only course for survival is to become the monsters that the world perceives them as, but they feel it is their duty to find some other option. Yes, and my thing is saying that, do you feel like Aaron and everyone can basically look beyond conflict and find an ideal that they could basically, actually, like,
right,
form like a movement towards.
Well, and form a movement towards that, the outside world will allow, because
or at the very least they won't feel the need to try to stop it.
Well, yeah, allow, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's a good neutral.
Because so far they've been pretty actively keeping the Eldians in check, shall we say?
Right. That point though, Han Solo, is that it's not at this point about everyone trying to survive. Right now, if they wanted, humanity, basically the people on Paradise, could sustain themselves on Paradise.
Except that there's gonna be an attack eventually.
Yes, but until that attack comes, like, what do you do?
You prepare for the attack.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think you need a goal for their section of humanity. You need something that's bigger than the conflict to move towards. And I think that's why Armin was
the better
choice.
Gotcha.
And I'm still going to hold to that. I totally understand that Erwin was the better tactical military choice on a number of levels.
They could make a boat and call it Titanic.
Caleb, are you going to remain anime only, or will you catch up to the manga? I'm anime only. Anime only forever.
He's waited this long, you know.
Optimistic view of Hanji and Armin will be to gain info, explore, but Eren knows that is naive and that conflict is inevitable. I'm sure Armin's surviving is important for this because Erwin would just be gearing up for more war. Yes, exactly. And I think that aspect
probably true.
That aspect of them saying that that's naive, though, I think that naivete, if you will, is actually the only reason why this timeline has a chance, essentially, of actually winning.
Power of friendship?
No, just the idea to dream. The willingness to dream for something more. I don't know what Erwin's new dream would have been after he'd learned the information about, you know.
Yeah, he probably would have seen it as a tactical thing of, okay, we've got enemies out there.
We just got a huge amount of information on them.
Right.
We now have a slight advantage because
they don't know that we know.
They don't know what we know.
Right, exactly. And then now we'll basically just, you know, prepare for war.
Basically.
Because that's where Erwin thrives. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good comment there, Sailor Ghost. Mura commented once that for Eren, the ocean was about... Wait, what?
Mura?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably meant Isayama, but...
And for Armin was about... the ocean was about freedom to see it. For Armin, it was about seeing it, and that he wanted to express through Armin's fascination with the shell and Eren's ignorance of it. And from that, division goals diverge.
Gotcha. So, yeah, the idea that basically Armin just wants to know that it exists.
Right.
Whereas Eren's like, that's something that I should be able to see because I was born into this world.
Right.
And now he's realizing that, okay, I was able to see this, but there's a, you know, across this ocean, that's a whole other story. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially humanity's fine. The Titans, they were killing with their own people. Yeah, I mean, I was dealing with that whole reveal back in season 2, though.
Oh,
basically,
man.
that, like, Titans are people. And this whole conflict is basically proof, on some level, that there are other people out there. So...
So on the off chance that Eren, ever falls for his queen, what would that banging session be like with constant paths flashbacks for both of them?
Wow. Wow.
Eren remembers his own procreation, and suddenly the hard-on is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to break the cycle of hatred, as Kruger said. Love someone. If you can, then it's all going to repeat. The same history and mistakes.
Yep.
That's my point.
So maybe Eren and Mikasa will end up canon after all. Even if it's for just, like, a few years.
Wait, come on. Sustainability on Paradise? Don't you remember what Sonnes said and Pictius? How did they even manage to live without civil unrest for 100 years? That's because they just needed a goal. Like I think that's a very, very cynical look on things. They've never experimented because of the founding Titans' power of just humanity trying to build itself, you know.
Well, right, yeah, they have a lot more land now, for one.
Well, so they have no Titans encouraging upon them.
Right, they just have, you know, the entire world. Yeah.
Well, no, they have Marley. That's all they know about right now.
And Marley, as far as we know, Marley is the whole world.
As far as we know, Marley is a continent?
A country.
A country. Well, yeah. I mean, remember when they showed us the map?
Oh.
Yeah, the map of the place where Marley was, like, it had a finite amount to it. It didn't extend off the map.
Sure, which would mean there would be other countries, so then...
Yeah, and they're not even in the story
potentially,
and they're not even in the story here, so I don't even consider them really relevant. But yeah, that's like saying, like, well, you know, Australia was just a bunch of, you know, prisoners on a prison colony, and left to their own devices, they would destroy each other. No, there's this thing called, you know, humanity and generations and stuff. Yeah, eventually, you know, they'll do well, and maybe you have some infighting and civil wars and stuff like that over time, but that doesn't mean that, you know, oh, they're all going to just be wiped out. No, sustainability for Paradise is totally possible outside of a Marleyan invasion. totally
Jacob
possible.
is an Aramika shipper. No.
I mean,
I'm holding on to that.
You haven't hidden that at all.
Oh no,
like,
not at all.
People should have known that since our season 2 reactions.
I'm holding on to Eren not outliving this conflict, and Armin being the one to tell the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here. Yep.
Yep.
If I was his story, I'd keep the no war vow and live happily ever after in paradise after killing all the Titans and having nuclear dissuasion. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can't believe we're getting a new season so soon. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Eren would call out Carla's name and Historia would get mad.
Wow. Erwin greater than Armin. Erwin recruited Levi. Erwin improved the survivability of scouts missions dramatically. Erwin brought a lot of support from the people to the scouts since he is commander, bringing more troops despite being such a deadly job. Erwin saved Eren from the military police and cornered Annie twice. I gotta tell you that, Erwin didn't figure out who Annie was, and he would never have if not for Armin. Erwin took down the corrupt government. But that's more of he had the idea to do it, and he said, let's go do it. But he didn't plan out the details of what was the business? Reeves?
Mm-hmm.
What was the son's name? Like Demo or something like that?
I can't remember.
Something like that. That wasn't Erwin's plan. That was all a part of basically Hanji working together with him to make something like that happen.
I love how you have to be like, no, Erwin didn't actually do really anything. He did some stuff, sure, but whatever.
No. I think that this is an extremely limited way of looking at things, in that Erwin was, yes, the battle commander. Yes. But, is humanity's whole basic, merit on this whole thing based upon who, is the best at doing military things?
What I like to think, because the thing is that I think Erwin was the better choice for pretty much every observable reason. But the thing is that there's
observable by the characters,
right?
In the
exactly.
Non-meta.
Yep. Exactly.
Gotcha.
But from outside that perspective, Armin is definitely the better choice, and I
Right.
like to think that maybe the reason that Erwin raised his hand and all that stuff happened that caused Levi to not choose Erwin, was maybe because of Pads.
Oh. Okay. Sure.
Because the thing is that once you deal with time travel, even if you're talking about world lines and stuff, any point in the story can be a divergence of world lines.
Yep.
So that point right there, Eren from another time, right, could have sent, because he doesn't have to send things back to one time. He can send things back to a billion different times all at the same time, because it's time travel, right? So he could have sent that back to Erwin right there to make him remember memories, that whole thing with his dad, and then boom, he raises his hand and Levi decides, you know what? Rest now.
Yeah.
I'm choosing Armin.
I think right now Eren is just going to think long and hard into what kind of freedom does he want. Yep, we need to redefine what freedom is and what's important here. Because in a lot of ways, no matter how you really go about it with this conflict, even with total annihilation of the Marleyans, and you save every single Eldian in the camps, yeah, which is the scenario he's basically proposing as the question here. Does that really give freedom?
Right.
Yeah.
And you could almost say that freedom is something that maybe, in a lot of ways Eren already has, but then it's the question of, do you realize that and what do you do with it? Now there's the problem that there are people that probably will want to kill you, just because you're you.
And your Titan is going to kill you pretty soon anyway.
Well, that too. So that's, if anything, that's the real thing that's keeping him from being free.
Yep.
But so then is it then something that it's less about his freedom but more of the freedom of others? And that's where it could get a bit more interesting.
Caleb, I think you should look at the map again. Okay, probably should, yeah.
Sailor
goes, remember at this point, the original release in the fandom, there was the idea that Isayama would bookend the story by having the last chapter being Eren attack Titan and Armin Colossal Titan attack some other city and start other people down their own path. Would you have seen such an ending as satisfying? probably not.
Yeah, like it,
No,
like
because it's just basically saying the cycle of violence will continue.
right. It's poetically poignant, but as far as an ending for the show, it's like no.
No, I think this
You
story
need
is
more
gonna.
than that.
Yeah, I think this story is gonna end with Eren making an Ava style deal with the Devil of All Earth, or basically contacting the original, the original Fritz in
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Yeah, Flagel's his name.
Flagel, thank you. Demo is the father. Okay, gotcha. Erwin only got so far because of causality. Eren and Armin will continue onwards because of paths. Also, Dio had to get his revenge on Joe Taro Smith. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eren Historia banging would be like that moment in Death Note where Light regains his memories and his eyes are glowing and he's screaming and there's hundreds of shaky cam memories showing in the background. That is painfully funny.
Boy.
That is painfully funny. Hosted Radio, thank you so much for the host. Nice Penguin 19, thank you so much for the follow.
Yes.
That's the problem in it. Marley exists, and as you said, even if it was only Paradise, they will eventually have their own infights. Can't sustain a system as it is now. If you try, here comes Sanis with torture. I'm talking centuries. I still think there's a world line here where they basically get over the racial war.
Well, and there's also a big difference between sustainable and there never being like murder or things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because one might
what
say
do we have right now in humanity?
Exactly.
We have wars going on.
And
people killing each other and lots of craziness.
And if you had something like I think in one of the discussions we talked about, like if the Eldians just wiped out every other human being besides Eldians, and then somehow like Founding Titan with royal blood, whatever, basically just mind controlled all the other Eldians to not kill each other. Sure, that would work, but then that wouldn't really be living.
Freedom.
That wouldn't be freedom, right?
Yep.
Then you're just a bunch of robots going around doing stuff. It's
right.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Sustainability has nothing really to do with the conversation surrounding freedom. It's more of just a thing of whether or not, since we're talking about it in terms of peoples, races and groups. A group can be wiped out, for sure. Humanity, I think, on this scale is something that the show is not going to have be completely removed from, from the story.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So at the very least, humanity will win out. Right. But will there be conflict continually throughout? If there is freedom, then yes, there will be conflict.
Exactly, because you can't go without the two.
Right.
Yeah.
But the cycle of violence with regards to the hatred between the two races, that can break.
Right.
That potentially could break.
Armin's slender? Not on my watch. Armin, best boy, show him love. Have you guys watched the preview? I have seen it.
I have not seen it yet. No. We'll probably just watch it on our own time.
Yeah.
Oh, you already watched it. Okay. In the reveal, they say that the Eldians oppress other races that they considered inferior. That means that Marleyans isn't the only ones involved. Oh, duh. Yeah, that's a good point. I was like freaking out thinking like y'all will,
So yes, there are other peoples and
but I assumed that was Ackermans and
that they sort of persecuted into like non-existence almost, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You guys keep dropping this F word. Now I cannot hear Mel Gibson scream freedom. We actually mentioned that in the discussion.
Yep. Do you see a Code Geass ending to this with Eren breaking the cycle of hatred? Well,
like, yes, but how is the question?
Well, yeah, it has to go Ava, basically, if they do that. What if Ymir got Titan powers from a God-hand ballot deal? Oh my god! Now this is gonna go into the astral plane. That's where the next conflict will be.
The ending will be Eren making a devil's deal with the Ava penguin.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Do you think they will find some way to extract the Titan powers out of people without killing them so the shifters can live their lives?
That would be awesome.
That would be maybe something awesome as
fantastic.
part of the deal, maybe? Is that Ymir... Oh, that's how you could do it. That's how you could do it.
just remove Titan powers from everybody.
Have Ymir basically, well, it's not Ymir, but
the demon of all Earth, or whatever.
Yeah, basically retake Titans, like basically take the Titans
right
back.
And then people would just struggle as regular people, and in that sense then all the Eldians could be free, because while they would still have issues and there'd be all kinds of potential
technology from Marley would give them still the ability to persecute,
right, but they wouldn't have any specific reason to, other than maybe retaliation for grievances that had already happened.
Right. So
yeah,
in that way it would be kind of a cheesy, like, but wait, the reason why we're fighting is no longer there, but our history, and it's like, forget the history. Okay, seems about right.
The thing about that, it could totally work, is that it's something where it's like, okay, we're going to resolve the conflict of this story by making suddenly this story not exist, because it's all about this world where Titans exist, and you have these characters, and the resolution for the characters would still be fantastic, and I would love to see Eren and Mikasa on a farm. But that's kind of like, well, if we just get rid of all the problems, then we don't have to resolve it.
Yeah. Although I could see some really impactful things happening along the way with characters, where that's basically,
Also, Eren's losing his semblance of sanity. Joke had to be made.
Yep. I'm kind of mad I didn't make the joke. Message deleted by a moderator. Don't want to know what that was.
Current humanity isn't exactly sustainable. Well, I mean, we haven't all died out yet, so.
I mean, everyone has their own predictions. But I think that generally speaking, the reasons why people believe the current humanity isn't sustainable, at least the general ones, are things with regards to technology, an external, basically, body of rock hitting the earth really hard, or basically we pull the plug on nukes, but
that's less and less likely given how things have happened since.
That gets less and less likely the farther we go from Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
right,
without anything of that nature.
If it didn't happen during the Cold War, it's probably not going to happen.
But I agree with you in that it would be a mistake to assume that we have achieved some level of sustainability just because certain technological things are going a certain way.
And that's the thing. Like, when you think about the idea of sustainability, is it sustainability in an absolute sense? Because if it's that,
then it's impossible.
Then the
sun will give out in 5 billion years.
Well, sure, and there's that.
We will either not be in the solar system.
Barring stuff like that, then you could say that almost anything is sustainable because the human race will somehow figure out how to keep going. Right?
Or if we think about this in the selfish way, it'll be sustainable for you because you live a finite life and you're going to die.
Sure.
And then in some ways, everything beyond your death doesn't matter to you. I mean, obviously it does. Obviously it does matter.
Right.
But the idea that basically in the the nihilistic sense,
right, that is a perspective that you could take.
That is a perspective you could take, and then you would see almost everything is pretty sustainable.
But even without that, humanity adapts. So if there's something that isn't sustainable, like, if humanity was killing each other, right, and it was going to get down to the point where there was just one human left, that could theoretically happen. But as it got closer and closer, that would probably start happening less and less, People would start realizing, hey, maybe, like, my own survival is something that I want to keep.
Yeah. Oh, do not watch the preview, Caleb. It has some manga spoilers, art, and Mikasa says the thing. I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah, they've also made mention of an Asian clan here and there. Yep, that's Mikasa's mother.
Right.
I used to theorize that the Marleyans and Eldians were actually the same race, but their memories were erased by a third-party Titan shifter with the god complex. Stupid, I know, but I tried.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's a good point. Marleyan science wouldn't have much reason to change things in favor of Eldians living fulfilled lives. Eldian science and Titan shifters in modern time may favor them more than we presently see. Sure. So back to this whole philosophical thing. Oh yeah, and then there's also, the Earth itself basically just rejecting us as humans. But again, that's less something of, the Earth, and that's more of like just the Earth becoming uninhabitable by an external force like the sun, or, you know, things get, 5 degrees too hot on average, we wouldn't all die. Things would just get very hard to live just in general. And then you would have like, a dystopic kind of,
but given time, that might spiral things out of
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those kinds of, yeah, I think once you start getting into the numbers of it, yes, obviously once you throw everything forward 1,000 years, 100 years, 100,000 years, who knows how sustainable humanity is at this point. Yeah. But on the philosophical thing, I think that's actually one of the best things that Attack on Titan's third season kind of brought up, was actually the philosophical discussion being brought back up again regarding freedom. And it showed in things like even Sergeant Gross's monologue.
Yep.
Probably one of the most chilling moments in the entire show.
And as disgusting as that guy is, that monologue is a really good monologue, because it gets really at a lot of the darkness of humanity. Because like a lot of the things that that they bring up as references from history in this show, those are things that people did, not titans, not monsters, but people.
Yeah,
they did those things.
Yeah, the whole thing with basically anyone can be a god or a devil in this world because of the power of the Titans. It's interesting.
Well, and also just how you tell their story.
What do you mean?
Well, that was what the original line was. Is that it was because they were talking about how the history of the Eldian Empire was probably, a lot of it was propaganda from the Marleyans, but at the same time, what they got, the story that they ended up hearing and telling about the Eldian Empire probably wasn't all true either.
Well, yeah, we can't know for certain either of their history's importance and stuff, and usually in both ways it's both and neither. That's usually the way it goes.
Yeah, Gross staring directly at the viewer and addressing us as well as Grisha was pretty spooky.
While standing on Paradise's fourth wall. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
I had never thought about that.
I never thought about that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and in the manga, it's way
hilarious.
More obvious because it's in still panels, right? And he's constantly looking at the viewer.
Well, he never breaks eye contact
with but
the audience in the anime. So if anything, it's even more chilling because he's doing things.
Well, but
still like
it's very much very much the same way in the manga. And there's more not more panels, but there's more things covered in the conversation or in the monologue, I guess.
Gotcha.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was really spooky for sure.
Oh boy.
And think about it, Eldia was an empire, so there was probably other races in the empire, which means that when King Fritz built the walls and took a bunch of his subjects with him, some of the people were not Eldian, which will explain the bloodlines that can't be controlled. Exactly. Yeah. That was something I was wanting to bring up multiple times, was that no, not everyone on Paradise is Eldian or subjects of Ymir even. Just that's why there was the whole thing with Kenny's. That's why Kenny's story exists.
Right.
At all.
Gross likes to see people get eaten by giants, just like we are doing by watching the anime.
Well, I think that's part of the self-aware kind of poking fun at the fandom. But I think the deeper thing here is that, it's actually something a little bit darker, is that people want to see cruelty. Peace is a wonderful thing, but isn't enough. Like, doesn't that sound like this whole question that Eren has at the end there? Is, so, if I kill everyone else out there, will we be free?
Right.
I'm like, why don't you guys just, go somewhere else, then? Why don't you guys just send a person to try and negotiate? And be like, hey...
I mean, that'll probably happen.
What are the natural resources you need? Oh, you think so? You think they're going to... Okay, you know what's going to happen, though, Jacob. So I can't take any of what you say seriously when you say, oh, that's probably going to happen. Unless it, literally is happening, then you're spoiling me, So it's a catch-22.
Either way. I mean, even when countries go to war with each other, right? Now, granted, this is extenuating circumstances of, you know, like xenophobic, like genocide type stuff, right? But even when countries go to war with each other, they still have, you know, diplomats negotiating things and whatnot. Now, they might do things differently here, but
yeah. Caleb, you actually brought this up with Zachley's chair contraption. People are very eager to condemn cruelty until it is inflicted on their enemies.
Yep.
Now that's definitely the case, but there is very much an aspect of human beings not wanting to look at it. What Gross said, though, is that people want to see cruelty. And this is the difference, is that I think people seeing cruelty versus people wanting to have cruelty sent out to their enemies. It's like, we are justified in our thing. Deus vult, right, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of, But then there's the aspect of, no, Faye getting eaten apart by dog was educational for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, see, that's a different different aspect.
Right,
of
that's where the truths that he got at in his monologue get twisted, and then you're like, this guy's crazy. But the idea that you could get someone that's so deranged from something that you could learn from, like what he said about humanity, like there's stuff to glean there. But then it's the how does this but this person turned into this, right? Someone who feeds little girls to their dogs.
Yeah. The point of what he's saying is how easily this can be switched around to be basically Eren talking about, you know, their whole goal with regards to defeating Marley. You know, and I already mentioned that in an episode's discussion earlier. And it's chilling because it's the same, I would say, logic that people use to justify all kinds of wars and stuff like that. And I think based on the unique situation that this story presents us with, that war is not the best option for anyone. And I think in some ways our heroes are going to screw it up. Like they're not going to send, you know, people to negotiate and stuff like that.
We're sending someone to negotiate.
No, like
anyone else want to negotiate?
No, like I totally could see that being a thing of where maybe it's Marley and scouts, you know, like maybe they send a Zeppelin over.
Sure.
And you know, it's a little bit awkward and there's some border tension or something like that. But on some level, they get the opportunity to speak with each other. That might not happen. The story might just make it so that can't happen.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I think that the fact that Zeke and Reiner and the Backpack Titan end up making it there, they know about the situation at Paradise. And given that there was like a, 8-9 month time skip?
Yeah.
Something like that. During that time, Marley didn't attack. Right. Why didn't they attack? I think it's because they've had their policy as a whole is that they don't fully attack ever until they have basically some kind of word about the Founding Titans' power not being an issue.
Well, and if they did, it would probably be something where they would want to attack with greater force than they had in the past, since they'd done that. They'd sent reinforcements. They'd done the whole thing with Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, and the other guy. And then they had sent reinforcements in Zeke and the Backpack Titan, and it still didn't work. So clearly, that isn't enough. So, you know, if we're going to do this, then we need to be some real large scale conflict that probably would take more than 8 or 9 months to prep for.
Yeah. Something I didn't even think about, though, was the fact that Marley was risking way too much by just sending in people that can be controlled by the Founding Titans' power. Like, they didn't know why the Founding Titan wasn't, you know, doing anything else. Every single one of those Titans could have just been controlled. And it's probably that they were trying to be secretive about it and incite some kind of chaos and basically be, you know, undercover agents that they're thinking, okay, it won't matter because he won't be able to tell it's us,
right?
And we'll be Eldians as well, so we're not gonna stand out in any way.
I'm not sure, but it might. What I'm guessing it is that it's something where once you're an actual Titan shifter, it's something different slightly. Because otherwise, like, how would Eldia have even gotten Titans under their control anyways? The founding Titan could have just been like, yeah, sure, you have the Titans, cool, assuming direct control, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an interesting point, though. In order for Marley to have supplanted Eldia, they would have had to play the propaganda game and win over Eldians with Titan powers. You think about that?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's why I think this is going to go for the beginning, is that there's going to be this kind of awkward kind of standstill thing where they're both trying to figure out ways of, understanding the situation fully, and someone's going to basically fire the first shot, and then it won't stop from there. It'll just go out of control. And that's where I don't even think you can have happy endings for more than like a handful of characters at that point. But yeah.
Still goes with 100 bits. Do you think most of the Titans of Marley, or citizens of Marley, are aware of what exactly their nation is doing? Like, they know about the segregation and stuff, but what about turning people into Titans and making a blood sport out of it?
Blood sport?
I mean, well, the whole thing of, sending them off into, paradise and whatnot. And the whole thing of, like, having them run, having one run so that the other Titans are led towards...
Oh, no.
Probably not, because, I mean, why would they tell the citizens that?
Yeah, there's no tactical reason
right
for them to tell them that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Most countries that are at this level of technology don't make their citizens aware of all the crazy things they do with regards to conflict. In fact, they take efforts to make sure they do not let the citizens know. Like, it's like a very active thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. The way Marley probably originally got Titan shifters is because Eldia was oppressing the Marleyans, and some of the Eldians were sympathetic, and then we're like, yeah, we'll help you, and then sort of went from there.
Yeah, that's what I think is probably going to happen with regards to kind of what they've been setting up with Zeke and Reiner, is that they're both kind of got their they both got their foot in two different worlds, and I think Zeke is probably the one that's probably going to be a little bit more grounded, but Reiner just has so much just crap going on in his head that I could see him being essentially a sympathizer in that regard. And also, he's lost his bro Anchor. So how is he?
That's true.
How is he going to maintain his semblance of sanity?
Yep.
Without Bertolt.
Would the Pillarmen theme play if Eren and Historia decide to initiate the rumbling and unleash the Titans?
I didn't think about that. I've never thought of that. And they all all of them pop out and they're like posing, like shoulders out and like really like. Oh my gosh.
That shot in the end credits of it raining blood worries me. Hope it's not foreshadowing some Eclipse level bad mojo that's gonna happen, though it probably is, knowing Isayama.
So I think the blood thing ties in with the whole war in the trenches thing that they had going previously. When you have that many people dying like there was in World War One, and you don't recover the bodies and stuff, trenches and all that just become basically lakes of dead and blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is psychiatry a thing in Marley? Reiner needs a referral.
Oh, I totally think Reiner is going to go through some kind of a
hopefully
reevaluation of sorts, and it's probably going to have the opposite effect. It's going to be kind of a thing of like, hey, you need to
do you need to go back to basic to kind of reground yourself because you've been through a lot. Yeah,
and that whole thing is going to give him the opportunity to actually change himself a little bit,
potentially.
In some ways I think it almost has to, because him being alive is kind of a joke at this point. Like, he has so many times he should have died.
He's the plot armored Titan.
Yeah.
That's
seriously.
what people call him in the manga.
Oh my god! Wow. just he has to have more to his arc if he's going to be alive still.
He's a great character though.
I think he has the potential to be a great character. I just think right now he's a good character. I think like Eren, Armin, actually that's a good point. In Attack on Titans, the characters are not
the best.
That good. They're good and they're serviceable and they do their part well, but in a lot of ways the characters of Attack on Titan are rather simple.
He's Attack on Titans Polnareff.
No. Wait.
Oh, cool little Easter egg that has no real impact on the story, but if you look closely, the island of Paradise has the same shape as Madagascar in real life. The entire map is basically flipped and mirrored so that the island is about in the same climate zone as Germany.
What? Okay.
Yeah, but that is a good point about the whole
I'll have to look at the map again.
Mental health of Reiner. Like, do honorary Marlians have coverage for like psychiatric care? You know,
I think warrior Eldians specifically have constant mental evaluation stuff because they're being given weapons of mass destruction. Jacob,
I'm thinking like in the latest I mean, I think it was like this in the original Blade Runner also, but in the latest Blade Runner, when he goes in and it's the asking him all the questions and whatnot. Yeah.
God, the latest Blade Runner was so good.
So good. Yeah.
So good. That's why you should look at the map, Caleb. Yep, I definitely should. Marley, you're approaching me. Wall Titans. Yeah. I can't flatten you without getting close.
By the way, the name of the other guy originally on the mission with Annie Bertolt Reiner get eaten by Ymir was already set in episode 10 of season 2. It's Marcel. That's right. Bertolt asks Reiner if they can trust her Ymir because she's the one who ate Marcel. Yep, it's not a spoiler. Yep, that's right. That's right. I wasn't sure about that. Yeah.
I don't remember that. Okay.
It was just sort of said once, I think.
I freaking studied though, like season 2's like big doozy reveal episodes, and I don't
think it was it wasn't at that point. It was like because that point is when they're all like gathered together and they have the conversations. But when earlier, I think it would have been when Ymir revealed. Or wait, episode 10 of season 2.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Sailor goes with the 100 bits. Reiner becoming a child soldier,
losing
all his comrades, making heavy sacrifices, going insane, but pressing on nonetheless, having to be rescued. Can you imagine how it must feel to do all that and fail? Well, that's the thing. Reiner is going to either die very soon because he failed
twice,
multiple times.
Yeah,
many times. Or is Zeke going to actually cover for him?
No, we did good. We did good, but
because he's their war chief, so I want to know that whole relationship as well. I would love also for the story to be a little bit more omniscient, because I think that what they did by showcasing the whole Ymir thing is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
for building up things with the story.
Yep.
Would you guys consider listening to the newest soundtrack? Well, yeah, but we didn't do a reaction of it because it's music and copyright. So just to clarify, is it possible for the other Titan shifters to see the past like Eren? So like, did any of the shifters see the past like him at some point? Not necessarily. I don't think so. G Mather with the follow and the Twitch Prime. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Season 4 best season? I mean, it's going to be the last season, and following this pattern, probably.
Yeah, definitely has the potential to be the best season. I thought before the second part of season 3 that the second season was the best season outside of like 1 or 2 issues. The main problem I had with putting this first part of season 3 above that was because of the way that they basically dealt with the
exposition.
But it was a minor thing. Like, it was very low in terms of, because it had a bunch of other things that it did better than I think season 2. But season 3 now, with the second part on top of it, is definitely the best season. not just in a catharsis sense of how much I enjoyed it. I think it's just unequivocally
3, 2, 1.
like the best one. Yeah, you look back on season 1 and oh boy, like
it
had
was
a
really
lot
good.
of good things, but
like
it was
compared, no way,
not nearly as good as the second and third season have been. Ozela goes with 100 bits. Okay, last question for me for today on the topic of Ymir. Now it is established that something from previous owners stays with the shifter, like Bert with Armin. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Do you think Ymir's choice to protect Bert Reiner and in the end go with them may have been influenced by her eating their sworn comrade? And good night. All right, see ya, Salo Ghost.
See ya.
I think that we can't go too detailed into the whole past Titan shifter influencing them that much yet. On some level, I think that it will end up being a thematic thing because it fits in with this whole thing of paths and such. But I think it's going to be more of a thing of how the characters relate back to Eren being the founding Titan and the coordinate essentially. So that I want to see more of, because I do think that Eren is going to have to be some kind of a Jesus Kun savior, bring all the followers together kind of thing. Like he's going to have to establish a new dream with the help of people like Armin and basically champion that so that we can move beyond this cycle of hatred. Otherwise, the story just doesn't end well at all. Like, it just can't.
As long as Reiner remains silent about having a crush on Astoria, he's Gucci. Imagine how awkward that would be. It's like, so you were undercover for a long time. Yes, sir. You came out of it okay. I mean, I kind of went crazy for a little bit there, but yeah, that's fine. We can we can work with that. We'll get you ship shape in no time.
Gotcha.
Anything else of note? I have a crush on the queen. Wait, what? Nothing. Just
nothing. Nothing at all.
No. Are you sure? It sounded like something that was important.
Yeah, that's a good point. Relying too much on memory absorption and taking characters for characters less and less can just kind of discount what may have been good character moments sometimes.
Yep.
Viewing certain things as thematic and maybe even poetic feels like it serves the writing and story better. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus, it's the culmination of the final contradiction for Ymir of constantly living for herself, and this was something that was done for the sake of other people, but it was something that she decided to do. She did not have to do that, right?
Yep.
But
and her decision cost her her life.
Yep.
And it's important, I think, that decision had consequences that were negative for her because it contradicts her selfishness up until that point. It's something that I really, really loved about Season 2's finale was that decision. I've shown Attack on Titan to so many people, and like most of them quit in Season 1. But a couple of the ones that like went to Season 2 and stuff, they just didn't really get the whole Ymir thing.
And you didn't even fully get the gravity of the sacrifice when you first watched it.
No, I did. I was like, oh, she's dead. Yeah. Like back in the I know you don't go back and rewatch our reactions and stuff, but like I had a
Okay.
Like I knew that she was basically going to die because of this whole thing. Gotcha. At least I believe I did. I'm not 100% sure.
Reiner's crush on Historia may be his turning point / undoing. He's in my grip, Jean, and nothing will change that unless he sees something he's passionate about.
Right.
Blood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When Mr. Scale's right. Yeah, Ymir says she wants to give back what she has stolen. Yeah, right. That was my. Yeah. Yeah. Then she's dead, basically.
There's video evidence. Yeah, we could figure it out.
She was Ymir, then she went you there, and now she's you gone. God, the memes are actually pretty good. Like the more and more I hear about them, they're just fantastic. By the way, I didn't understand in this last episode why didn't they kill that crawling Titan? Well, because it's a person.
Right.
That's the chilling part about it.
Yep.
It's a harmless person struggling there, but there's a possibility, that a non-zero
sometime in the future,
that sometime way in the future we can save that person from the eternal hell they're stuck in.
Right.
But if we kill them, we not only are murdering them, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
we are removing that very slight chance
Right.
for them.
Now, the argument could be made of, should we just put them out of their misery potentially because it's such a low possibility?
That's possible.
You know,
but again, that's not about freedom then.
Right. Exactly.
That's taking away their freedom. Fuga Cities 2019, thank you so much for the follow. All right.
The real question is, if the map of Attack on Titan is flipped and mirrored, yet the Oriental clan is still described as from the east, is Mikasa actually Australian?
What? That would be.
I love it.
That would be hilarious. Like, don't you know? Like,
crikey.
Oh man, I mean, cultures and accents and all that are just because of the time they spent living all together. And
she finds and wrestles a crocodile.
Like, she could be from the continent that would be Australia, but still be the Oriental clan because the culture developed in a similar way there.
That scene was also a symbol of Eren's character growth. Yes, because it's not about killing all the Titans anymore. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I didn't know about it.
Do you think
Show says, but we didn't know about the Titan cannibalism to get the power in season 2, Caleb. So, that's right. That's right. Yeah. That was such a sad scene. Flock not getting it made so much better. Imagine being stuck in that Titan shell, unable to move, probably in misery. Yeah. Mikasa definitely wants Eren to go down under. Oh my god. NTFTH, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime.
Yes.
Have you ever seen what's inside the nape of non-shifter Titans? Considering the amount of times we've seen shifters torn out of their Titans, I may just be forgetting some science chat from an earlier season.
Right, because they didn't actually... Right, I think it's that there would be nothing in there, really, because otherwise humanity would have discovered a long time ago. When they cut the nape out, it's like, hey, that looks like a person's torso in there.
What I think it is that while it is a person, Titans don't seem to have... Titans still have a skeleton, if that makes sense.
Right.
So they're not cutting the nape as much as they are cutting the spine. So they're destroying basically the central nervous system's connected. They're splitting it.
Could you say that they're disrupting the paths?
Oh my god, yes. And also potentially just the nape is the most exposed part of the spine, potentially.
Right.
It's the part where the spine is the closest to the, Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I guess if we have Africa and inhabited by white people, so why Orientals couldn't be on Australia, right?
Mikasa with an Australian accent is an amazing image.
Yes, but apparently this is further north, above the equator, so things are not, a freaking hot desert or something.
Right.
But we know on some level that this is something that's good to bring up. That there is an equator south of them. Guys, this is cool because when they moved south along the island towards the dock, the harbor, the walled area, there was a desert. There was a sand there. So it gets hotter the further south you go, which means they are north of the equator.
Although that could be part of the fact that they were getting towards the beach.
Yeah, but we also know that south is,
Yeah. Caleb, do you think Eren will have a better story than Bran the Broken? Oh, boy.
No one has a better story than Bran the Broken.
Oh, boy.
I mean, Eren's not going to be a king or something. I mean...
Right. There's another thing that was cut from the anime. Hanji actually did experiments on Titans to see inside the nape, but there was nothing inside, but it's assumed there may be something infused. It's assumed there may be something infused in the Titan body itself. Right, because they are turned into Titans.
Oh, we just had some stream lag there for a second. Sorry, guys. I didn't know if you were experiencing that, but something just kind of hiccuped there.
We kind of forgot about Annie.
Well, Annie, I still think is actually going to be a huge part of the story moving forward here, because I think Annie is going to be an Eren supporter.
The reason we saw Rod in the nape was because he was a Titan shifter at that point.
Yep. Even if he's not in control of everything necessarily, he was a weird abnormal.
Well, right, because he just tasted the spinal fluid. He didn't fully inject it, and it was also a different kind. So it
There was a lot of weird circumstances with Rod, right? And I don't see it as something that sets the rule.
That's right. Rod wasn't a Titan shifter.
No, I know he wasn't a Titan shifter. I'm just saying that he wasn't a regular Titan. He was an abnormal. They determined that by the fact that he wouldn't chase after
just
humans
artistic
nearby.
Choice. Yeah, Rod's body wasn't actually in the nape. There you go. Yeah. I think Memory Bertolt would appreciate it if Armin hooks up with Annie, and then Armin is like, "Hey, Eren, could you somehow take the memories from me of me and Annie banging and then send it in the past to Bertolt just so that, like in his final moments before he gets eaten, he's like, oh, wait a minute, hey."
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think actually, who's the MVP for season 3?
Who?
Grisha.
What about Historia? Because you have to take both halves.
Well, Grisha.
Yeah?
Yeah. We got revealed basically of the whole thing with what Grisha did when he was, right with the whole thing with the Rod Rice and everything there. Grisha basically has one of the most depressing stories in the entire show.
Which is saying something.
In some ways, think about it. He's lost both families. He had to kill himself in order to have his own son eat him, which I totally understand that that Grisha did learn his lesson with regards to, waiting and giving Eren, basically having Eren show signs that he's ready for this, that he chooses this.
This is a good point. Grisha was the MVP in season 0, but in season 3...
Yeah, but I'd
say MVP because Zero Eclipse is an amazing song. It is an amazing song.
But yeah, the fact that he was essentially put into a crazy situation where he's like, I have to do this now. And on some level, I'm not sure how the timeline works. I don't think Grisha was at his 13 years.
Personally, though, for me, MVP of season 3 is Erwin.
Okay.
Erwin had so many amazing parts, throughout season 3, first half and second half. It's just
Yeah, I feel like recency bias might be affecting me specifically with this because I think Grisha's story eclipses and or overshadows the entire show.
But does it Zero Eclipse it?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Right, even though he was in 4 or 5 episodes of season 3. One of the most depressing stories, though, for me from season 3 is not Grisha. It's freaking the drill sergeant. His story was just depressing, because he's completely broken and then that's it. Whereas with Grisha, at least he was able to find a family and and all that stuff inside the walls and have 10 years of happiness or whatever it was before it all got yanked away. Keith Shadis, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I love his one-off story. I just wouldn't even call it a thing that has to do with being the MVP.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about MVP. I was talking about just depressing story.
Oh, the most depressing story in the show. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he has less things that are happy means it's more depressing. Yeah, I would say no. I'd say having happiness going up to a high makes the crash even more depressing.
Maybe, but I feel like his story is the one that's so contrary to a lot of the themes of Attack on Titan, of dreaming and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas he's just no, just constantly getting dragged through the gutters.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you think because there is so much talk about racism and killing other races, we will see some kind of Eldian or Marleyan concentration camp? Well, we already
it's technically already a concentration camp. It's just that,
it's not...
They're not gassing them yet.
They're... yeah. All it is at this point, not to trivialize it, is it's just, racial housing. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, like
totally. It's not like there's corrupt officers like Gross going around having his son's dogs.
And even if Gross, and even if Gross is an exception, that doesn't change the fact that like concentration camp, because of the Nazis in World War II and stuff, that was sort of like what we come to think of when we think of concentration camps. But a concentration camp
could be just an internment camp.
A camp that is a concentration of people,
Yes,
like,
and there's rules specifically around how they live their lives.
Right, and they can't leave and all that stuff.
And if they, in this case, if they leave, they have to be labeled with a mark that basically lets everyone know that they are part of the inferior race.
Right.
Or of the evil race, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's this disgusting on a number of levels. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the part with Hitch in the final episode, that was...
Oh, yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah. In some ways, I kind of feel bad because I forget, not in terms of, like, who they are, but to discuss characters like Marlowe and Hitch. Because they're there. They're there. And they have more of character than even, characters like Moblit, who I forget even more in terms of actual mentioning.
Yeah, Moblit's gone.
But yeah, Moblit saved Hanji, threw her in the well.
Yep, and and he was constantly saving Hanji all throughout the show.
Oh yeah,
that was just his shtick, Yep.
Yeah. But Hitch is
Hitch will never get hitched.
Hitch's and Marlowe's characters were ones that I was impressed that they actually brought them back for season 3.
Yep.
Because it was a fun little investment at the end of season 1. I was like, oh,
yeah,
where this is gonna go? Season 2 happens. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
okay,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And then in season 3, it's like, oh, of course, now they're relevant again because of the military police conflict. Perfect.
Exactly. Yep.
And we'll actually give development off of Marlowe's whole,
and it's a great way to
whole likeness of Aaron,
and it's a great way to remind us sort of Annie without having it being all the people that are like, oh yeah, Annie, we still have her in that crystal. It's like, oh yeah, Annie's gone missing, we don't know where she is. And it's like, ooh, but do you guys forgive his bowl cut?
Sure,
the true question.
Sure, why not? Yeah, I still feel worse for the Warriors. Their entire short existence dedicated to exterminating their own people for being hated exactly like they themselves are.
Yeah.
Yep. Problem is, we haven't gone too in-depth into any of their stories, except really Reiner and Bertolt. And Bertolt's dead, and Reiner hasn't really gotten much of that since season 2. Like, really all of Reiner's character came out in season 2.
Aww.
The contradiction stuff was set up in season 1, so it would fit really well there. Oh, Matt Jackson on Twitch 2003. Thank you so much for the follow.
Yes.
Sorry, what were we going to bring up?
A nice little touch to Moblit's character. He only ever referred to Hanji as section commander. Him saving her from the nuke is the first time he called her by just her name, I think.
Oh, I think someone mentioned that in Attack on Titan anime spoilers on the Discord. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bertolt's whole story was super sad. Like, because Reiner, like, all the stuff that happens with Reiner, but then there's Bertolt, and he has to quietly suffer through it. And even though, like, there's not much time between season 1 and season 2, so, like, as soon as Annie's gone, then they reveal themselves and whatnot, but, yeah.
Yeah, Bertolt's story is pretty depressing. I just wish we had gotten more of it. But they couldn't really, with the fact that Bertolt and Reiner were a mystery all the way up until season 2.
Yep.
So that's 50% of the show where we're not even supposed to really be focusing on them as they really are. And then Bertolt is silent, like, for all of the second half of season 2, basically, until it's give us Aaron. Right. And he's like, you guys think it was easy? You guys that was such a good...
Do you think anyone wants to do that?
Right. That was one of the best moments for setting up his character.
Yep.
But then again, season 3, he gets a scene, basically. Yeah. He gets a scene in an episode.
Please, someone find us.
Yeah.
That part just...
Yep.
Oh boy. But good. There are a lot of good Hanji Moblit dojins. All right. That does my heart good.
My top 3 characters are Warriors, pretty much. Their story is so depressing.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah. PRIFPS, Gaius 1000, thank you so much for the host. But yeah, PRIFPS and DDI Orbit, thank you so much for the follows.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We're gonna be wrapping things up here pretty soon. Attack on Titan. This podcast didn't go exactly the way I planned it, but Attack on Titan is one of those shows, and I think actually Giga put this up on Twitter, basically saying that if there's any show that came out in the last like 10 years or so that could be considered a modern classic, if Attack on Titan ends well, it will probably be a modern classic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of these...
I like to think it already is, but
right,
yeah.
A lot of these anime that we find that are more recent, that are super impactful and stuff, are usually like these one core adaptations of good source material, and they don't really get an ending. Or they get like 2 seasons and then they kind of go off the deep end eventually or something like that.
Yeah.
But none of them you really look at and go, wow, they kind of shaped the way that anime, like, was like the direction of anime for a culture. Attack on Titan was that.
The show went from overrated to underrated. I don't think the first season was that overrated, but yeah.
I understand why people say that Attack on Titan was overrated.
But it still delivered.
But I still think that that's mostly just people having the Frozen effect, where they're just tired of hearing about Attack on Titan being the greatest anime ever. And now, I always find it to be kind of it's all stupid to me. But now there's people like grouping up together and spamming 10 out of 10 reviews on Attack on Titan all over the place.
And that makes me so happy.
And that makes me so happy too, because I feel like it deserves, some recognition. But I kind of despise this whole bandwagon culture where it's like, I get on the hit thing first, but then once the bandwagon is too full, it gets a little pushy in here.
You're so hipster that you're calling out the bandwagoners before they're even truly making a bandwagon.
Hey, I'm saying that specifically with what happened with season 1, people saying it's overrated. Is basically people saying they're sick of hearing about Attack on Titan. It was really good.
It was really good. Okay, so my obscure Hanji Loves Titans X Annie is a Titan research ship still lives. The Annie crystal is actually Hanji's body pillow.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like a hype hipster? A hypester?
And just be hype about the shows you're hyped about.
Yep.
I think it's don't be ashamed when you're hyped about something. And especially don't be ashamed when you're hyped about something when it's not good, like Domestic Girlfriend.
Well, and like with Frozen, like a lot of people would like get bothered when I would continually make Frozen references or talk about Frozen, but I was proudly like cheering it on and proclaiming to the world when it broke $1 billion and and 1.2 and all that stuff. It was number 5 in the world at its pinnacle
for a time, yeah. Which is not,
and it's not a sequel or anything. Like the things that were above were like big franchise stuff, like the first Avengers movie, the 7th Harry Potter and like Titanic and Avatar, and that was it.
Yeah,
think about that.
Yeah.
Just animated film.
Just be be passionate about the shows you're gonna be passionate about, and and if someone comes along and tells you your like or dislike of a show is wrong, who made them your
exactly?
Who made them your founding titan? Why should they be given the ability to rewrite your memories and say
keep shilling Domestic Girlfriend in the manga? Yeah.
Yep. We all have some shit taste anyway, so just kind of just get over it and enjoy the fact that you have bad taste.
Only the people who haven't watched Disney classics would be proud of Frozen. Ouch. I would say that you need to rewatch some Disney classics, my friend. But
Season 3, Part 2, ranked number 2 on Mal, PogChamp. Yeah,
Jacob Shakir, the love of Nene. Oh,
wait,
boy. What? Character in Domestic Girlfriend later on in the manga.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I believe so, anyways.
I wonder if Annie can choose to come out of her crystal, or if she sealed herself in there not knowing if she'd ever be free again. I like the idea that she has no control over it anymore. She's stuck there.
She comes out, sees the state of the world, and goes back to sleep.
Well, I could see it being a pretty interesting thing where someone else frees her, and there could be some really cool story things that come from that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Let that sink in. Folks are annoyed when other people are euphorically happy about something. There's something messed up about this. Let us be euphorically happy, especially in this age of mental health awareness. Sure.
It's almost like people want to see cruelty. Peace is wonderful, but isn't enough.
Well, right, because the thing is that when people see other people having, because it's this comparison game that people do.
Yep.
When other people are super happy, it's like,
I'm
not that
He's
happy,
about to
right?
go off.
Like when
Here we go.
when Attack on Titan season 2 finally came out, right?
Here we go.
There was a particular comment that was like,
because we were in the comments at that, or at least you were in the comments at that time,
and it was like, the guy on the left or whatever shouldn't be able to have this much enjoyment with clothes on.
Yes,
you know? And it's like, okay, I mean, yes, it was basically orgasmic having season 2 finally arrive, finally come,
and specifically the episode 6,
episode 6, and and just all the stuff that happened. But the thing is that it's like, well, yeah, that's what it was, and I could totally see someone getting like bothered when it's like, okay, you're enjoying this so much. What is it that I'm not getting out of this? Why is it that you're able to just have so much fun from this? Right?
Yeah, be introspective then. It shouldn't be about someone else. Like
it's like the reverse thing of when you like something and someone else doesn't seem to like it quite as much as you do. Like they're not having the same response, because then it's the whole thing of like the vicarious enjoyment that you were getting from showing them this thing, and then suddenly you're not getting the amount of enjoyment that you expected to get.
Don't blame them. They're a different person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How dare you be happy? Yep.
We're actually just a depressed crab bucket. I totally see that.
Yeah.
And I almost live to break those buckets. To basically, like, I am the crab that's slowly, like, digging a hole in the side of the bucket, being like, y'all, it's like, I'm playing this stupid game, and I'm here, like, trying to let you know, there's stuff out there, and we just need to pinch the sides of this plastic stupid thing, and eventually we'll get out.
Good storytelling is like sex. Fuck you.
Guys 1000, you're amazing.
Whoop whoop. Fun police.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Hey, and that's the thing. Like, if you're getting into any kind of a comparison game, you've already kind of lost basically the opportunity to gain something from this.
He swore, clip it.
I mean, we try to keep, at least YouTube family friendly and stuff like that, because
after all, our grandma could be watching our videos.
Well, not only that, there's the whole view suppression thing that goes on with YouTube, especially as you get bigger.
Yep.
So there's that. Yeah.
Digging the hole. There's no way to get under the wall through Jacob. Though Jacob. You mean Caleb?
Yeah, I think they're talking about me and my dumb theory with having them go under the wall, but you can't because there's a bowl. But it's like, no, that's just the feet going down. Yeah.
Good storytelling is like sex. I can only sit back and watch while others enjoy.
Oh, that's good.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I watch the streams with my children.
Family-friendly domestic girlfriend.
Yeah.
You should see the things we watch when we're not on YouTube. Low-key, though, I really want to watch Mirror Tights. But it's nowhere.
I think, honestly, that Aaron would rap with all the cute blondes in Attack on Titan, Armin, Historia, Annie, etc. against Zeke.
So would Reiner be a part of that then? Like, what? I could see Reiner wanting to be a part of that just so he could rap alongside
any
Historia.
Rap battle would be a one-sided massacre. I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
She'd just be like, no, you.
To me, season 3, part 1 and 2 felt so fast as a manga reader. I think they should have added 4 episodes. Some episodes felt so rushed for the amount of info given.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know where you would add that, though.
Maybe in the Uprising arc.
I think it would be in the first half.
Reiner's pretty cute, just me.
No, Reiner's just a thick, good boy. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what he is. He's basically that physical brute archetype, but his big, dumb, stupid face is one that actually genuinely cares about people.
Exactly.
When he's under the disillusionment that he's a soldier.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll probably get to see a third side of Reiner pretty soon. Like, you guys think about that? Like, the idea that if we get to see Warrior Reiner more, will he basically dig deep into that? Or, and like, will that flounder a little bit? Or will it be a thing of where he basically casts off at both and he strikes a new path? I think the striking of a new path has the most fun potential.
If Reiner is a gentle giant forced to be a murderous titan, I'm gonna cry.
I think he is. I think he totally is. I think he's the protect boy. I think he's the
and that's why
older brother shonen protagonist kind of boy.
So the soldier part of him is maybe his more real self that he doesn't feel like he's able to be because he's
living in fear.
He's living in fear, and he's on a mission to basically exterminate. Like
yeah, definitely. Reiner already has more sides than he can control. That's the problem.
Reiner is thick.
I mean, Reiner, he's a big boy. Big boy. Remember when he like put the Titan on his shoulders and stuff?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Like
Reiner is the Eren is the attack Titan. Reiner is the armored Titan.
Wait,
like the defense Titan, but not armored Titan.
Gotcha. He kind of is, actually, now that I think about it. Who else could fit a defending protect Titan kind of role? Think what this may be. Would Annie kind of be a protect Titan? What separates her even from the armored Titan?
She's the closest to like a ninja Titan.
Oh, right. Annie has her kind of thing.
I think everyone forgot that Reiner and Bertolt caused more than 250,000 deaths.
Nope, no one forgot. No one forgot.
Mikasa would be the protect Eren Titan. Yeah.
Tits cam. Walked right into that one. What's the difference between Reiner and...
That's the ultimate power. Okay, so we've got these Titans, right? And none of them have junk. But then there's this other Titan that's got huge balunkers. I mean, a real set of badunkers.
A real pair of badunkers.
Yep.
And if she wants to, she can make them be unbreakable diamond badunkers.
The tips. Little diamond tips, and this diamond is unbreakable.
Wow. Oh my god. And he used distract.
I mean, the tits would convince Pictius to change sides.
Reiner was confused and scared, so he ran away.
Oh boy. What was it? It was someone said though, Historia should just make Reiner her spy by offering an ice cream date. Like, okay.
I think Reiner would be like maybe too nervous and would like screw it up or something.
So if a male Titan eats Annie, his Titan shifter power will be boobs and diamonds are a girl's best friend.
I mean, yeah,
that's where Annie was instead of the knife, and you had to guess which one to slice. Oh my gosh.
God. All right, y'all, we're gonna wrap this up here. Thank you so much for joining us for this Attack on Titan themed podcast. It's basically just kind of talking about season 3's impact on the
because it's kind of
show,
insane,
and also just where we're at right now, and Attack on Titan memes and ridiculousness and theories. But yeah, in a lot of ways,
gents. Thank you.
In a lot of ways, I am thankful that Attack on Titan's 3rd season is over because it was getting exhausting.
I
keeping
know, right?
all this stuff in my head.
The energy levels were too high. It was.
But all this stuff we got, like we actually have answers and we know where we're like we know where the conflict is. We don't actually know where we're going though. That's the scary thing.
Going out.
Yeah. So, y'all, we're taking a break from a lot of streams this week.
Oh, right.
Tomorrow we are doing the Berserk manga stream.
The final volume.
But that is the final volume for Berserk. The next week of streams though, for Thursday, Friday, Monday, and then next week's Tuesday. Not tomorrow, but next week's Tuesday are not happening. Jacob and I will be not streaming. Wow, we will be
in
traveling.
Austin, Texas for RTX.
Yes.
So if you're going to RTX, you know, come
or
on
you're in
and
the
say
Austin,
hi,
Texas area,
Exactly. Yep.
let us know.
Mhm.
We're gonna have some kind of a meetup. Well, we'll try to have something there for that.
Yeah.
Leave a follow if you want to stay update on all Twitch related stuff. If you are a subscriber or you use Twitch Prime to become a subscriber, you get access to our private Discord,
Boom.
where you can chat with us and get involved with the community there. They are going through the community events faction stuff that just started up there.
Pretty
so
crazy.
That's pretty crazy fun there.
Yep. And then also on the Discord, you can discuss with people about my passion project sci-fi novel Battle Lines, which is still available for purchase on Amazon. Link is in the description of any of our videos, really. Yeah.
I mean, you can Google
go check it out.
Also,
yes,
put it
that
on
works too.
Amazon, stuff like that.
Yep.
But hope to see you in a future one. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
We'll see you all
next time. Oh boy. Dio commercial coming in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my gosh, yes. Good place to stay updated might also be the conventions chat in the official Discord. Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's a good point. Reiner's Polnareff Armor Titan Silver Chariot.
Yep, I know. I saw that and I was like, that is amazing. That's so wonderful. Man,
I mean,
armor and everything.
Armor,
yeah.
But like the best armor is
the best armor
the
though
stuff
is in
that's
Battle
used-
Lines.
Yeah,
because specifically